Views and content expressed in the following program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the following program.
Hello and welcome again to Political Talk. Today, as you can see, Todd on the right in red and me on the left in white. Our attire today is very casual. We've both been working. We came in at the last minute, but we did get here. As our show normally goes, no teleprompters, no cue cards, no idiot boards, just ad-lib conversation with us. All we want to do is put something out to make you think. We're not telling you what to think. We're just asking you to think.
We just interject our own opinions here, but other than that, it's all open for discussion.
Yeah, so today, what should we hit on?
Oh, you wanted to go national, so...
Well, something that we've seen in the last couple months is the town hall meetings. We brought this up before,
yes,
and the anger that is mounting with people. And I brought up in previous shows, so I guess maybe this would be a little bit of rehash or add to, was that our representatives have forgotten how to represent. Mm-hmm. They're doing more for themselves, protecting their own phony baloney jobs or abilities. There was one that happened in New York. I don't know if you saw it. There was a young girl in the 18th district who was on with a brain tumor, and she asked her congressman, you know, please, I really need this
health insurance.
Yeah. And he promised her, oh yes, I'm going to vote, this is for you, and I'm going to take care of you. And there's nothing wrong with that except for the fact that you said something on TV.
Making a promise.
Yes.
And now I think I've heard about this. This is where she showed up over there and the congressman didn't show up, but yet somebody, the congressman from the 19th district showed up?
No, what happened was he voted just the opposite.
Right.
And then they inundated his office with calls, and they started knocking on the door, and he locked the door.
Yeah.
So then they started calling the congressman in the 19th district, mm-hmm, who was a Democrat, and started complaining to him. So he got on the phone, his private phone, to the other congressman from the 18th district and said, look, you better turn your phones back on and talk to your people.
Or he would.
Yes. And then a town hall meeting was scheduled, and the congressman from the 18th district refused to show up.
Right.
So they brought in the congressman from the 19th district. Now, this is pretty sad.
Well, that's kind of what's going on in almost every state across the nation. We have elected officials that want to make promises. Well, let's put it this way. I won't go so far as to say full-fledged lie, but I will say that they're misleading the people. They want to tell us what we want to hear, and then just leave it at that. They just don't follow through. They don't show up, or they do the opposite of what they're telling us they're going to do. And to me, that's wrong.
Well, the whole premise of what our government is, when it was founded in 1776, and I don't want to bring in the founding fathers and all of what they did, because one of the things they did not want was monarchy.
Right.
They did not want one person to have so much power that they could direct people's lives and whole groups of people, you know, the haves and have-nots.
Right.
So that was one of the things, and they put in checks and balances, mm-hmm, to show. Now, even when they were bringing the government up, Madison that left a clause in there for any margin of error that they might have made, that they could change it. That's how the Constitution was written.
Right.
But what we see today is people who have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, well, and see, there's an issue that we have going on. Some of it's been taken care of with term limits, but you have the U.S. Congress and Senate over there that don't have a term limit, and these lifetime politicians they're overstaying their welcome. I mean, it was set up as a citizens' government. In other words, we come in, we serve our time. Well, that makes it sound like a prison sentence, but I don't mean it that way. We serve our term and then get out and go back to work where we have our jobs waiting for us when we're done. Well, it's not supposed to be a lifetime career.
No, but it's twofold. And on the issue of term limits, that's how a specific state, and our state was one of them, because with John Dingell and John Conyers and Carl Levin, I mean, we had people that were there a long time, and you know, the influence in the party or in the government itself comes from these people that have been there a while.
Right.
So that part is good. The problem is that there are some that just don't do their job. But see, now that you have to put on the voter.
That's twofold as well, because what they're doing with, like, say, a freshman state rep comes in, they'll take them, and I've said this before, they'll come into Lansing before their term actually starts. 30 days before, so that they can be trained. All right, I can understand training them so far as to what the procedures are and stuff like that. But they're not allowing freshman states reps to fund a bill, or whatever you want to call it, to propose a bill.
Well, now,
because I mean, that's the purpose that we elect them. We elect them to go with our voice of the district to go make things better for our district in Lansing. But if they're a freshman state rep or freshman senator, they're not really allowed to make bills.
No, what people don't understand is that when you go up there, they have now a hierarchy. Now, it's not always like that. The Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate, they do lead it, but what they become is demagogues.
Right.
They've taken the power, and it's gone outrageous. They also become self-centered. That power will dictate their career down the road in some respects. Now, one that was like that was Mike Bishop. When Jennifer Granholm was there, and the Democrats, I believe they had the Senate and the House. I'm not 100% sure on that. But no, they had the House. They did not have the Senate. What happened was Mike Bishop stopped many bills from going out that would have helped everybody.
Right.
But he stopped them for political reasons. He wanted her to look bad. Now, that was the same thing that Mitch McConnell did with Obama.
Right.
He said, you're going to be a one-term president. Well, that didn't quite work out. Then you're going to be a failed president. Well, that didn't quite work out. But you know who loses in this? This is when the people lose, because these people have a job to do to make our lives better. That is their purpose up there, and that's not what they do. What they're doing up there is they're being self-centered, collecting money. Now, state reps and state senators, the procedure is, if you don't go out and help each other collect money,
it's all based on money,
then your bills will not go through. Meaning that if you don't go along, you don't get along. Now, what I wanted to do when I was running was the vote would originate down here. That vote would not be dictated by the Speaker of the House or the Speaker of the Senate. It would originate down here with the people of this district. But what we had was somebody who sold the vote out. And he did what he was told to do to keep the party going. And did he benefit? Yes. It subsidized his flower shops. What's he doing now? He's on the Liquor Control Commission, on a nice job that pays very well, but that's not much to do.
They're still talking about him taking Marlew's position as well.
Oh, yeah. He told me himself, to my face, he said, after Jim Marlew leaves, I take over as state senate. Well, you know, I got to tell you something. I was asked by a Republican last week in the store to run again against Jacobson. Now, let me clarify something. I have no problem with Republicans. I have a lot of respect for them. I have no problem. Brad Jacobson is a nice man as a person. As a state rep or a government official, he was out for himself and his party. And the same thing with Jim Marlowe.
Yep.
They say they help people. Well, some of that is residual.
But it's still the same across the board. This is why I've always said, and I've said it numerous times on this show, the two-party system is broken. They've lost touch with the people.
Yes.
And the only thing that they're concerned about is putting money in their pockets or the party coffers. That's it. They don't actually care about what's going on with the people down here on this level.
The thing is, for
At
example,
least that's my opinion.
I'm going to give a dumb example, but one just the same. Trump just signed into a bill about 3 weeks ago, taking a $120 million increase, $120 million
Okay.
for his security and his wife's security.
Okay.
Now, there's people out there, and I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. Oh, well, he has to be protected. Well, you know, first of all, there are things in place. Example, Camp David is out there. Mm-hmm. He could go there. He chooses not to. Now, that was built by the citizens for the president, so he had a place to go. It was Shangri-La, and then it became Camp David.
Right.
Okay, then...
Shangri-La was back in Kennedy's time.
No, Shangri-La was back in FDR's time.
FDR.
Yeah,
Right.
and then
Excuse
it
me.
was Eisenhower that changed it. But then the thing is, he's advertising his business. He raised the prices on his golf courses. It cost the taxpayer $23 million for him to go there. $160,000 a day for her to stay in New York. Wait a minute, this is not a monarchy. Now, you and I came here today in work clothes.
Right.
I will speak for myself. We live check to check. Life is not always great. We work very hard for the little that we have.
Correct.
At the end of my paycheck, money is coming out and is being spent for frivolous things. Your tax money is supposed to be spent for your behalf, your kids' behalf, your future, your security, your infrastructure. That is the purpose. Now, I will, as much as John Riley, I have no problem with John Riley. He and we disagree on a lot of things. But, you know, in the trimming down of the government, I don't say trim it down as far as getting things done, but I do trim it down in how you're spending it.
Right.
Now, that $120 million I brought up, it seems funny how we can't really fathom that much money, and yet it comes out of your pocket. Right now, the tax money that you and I have paid out in taxes, I could really use that now.
Correct.
Now, if it's spent to fix the roads, if it's spent to make the schools better, if it's spent to make our lives safer, that's fine. If it's spent so he can go down and play golf, or, okay, let's hit something close to home.
Okay.
In Lansing, I brought this up before. In 2014, October, Randy Richardsville spent $158 million on a new Senate office building, but the final cost came to $315
Okay. $315 million.
And I'll bring that report in if it needs to be seen.
Right.
$87 million to fix the Capitol Dome. $10 million for Bill Schuette because he does not like gay marriage. So he was fighting it. Same thing with Pence.
Yep.
Pence even said on the radio that they need mental help. They need to.
That it was a mental issue, not a.
Yeah. Now, come on. Now, look. Gay people have been around since forever.
Yes.
Okay. You don't have to agree with it, but again, like you and I have talked about before, freedom isn't free.
Right.
If you want freedom, you have to respect others' freedom.
Exactly. I mean, our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, your constitutional rights are there, but at the same token, you have to respect your neighbor's constitutional rights
Yes.
as well. As long as you're not harming their rights, your rights should be protected.
Now, I want to finish
Okay.
the list of money. Proposal 1, another fiasco. $23 million to fund that. No, I'm sorry, $28 million. And then how many millions of dollars into the Detroit schools because the attitude up in Lansing, $675 million.
Yep.
And then Flint. Shall we jump into Flint? Now, here's a problem.
That's
though.
going to be an unending one for
No,
right
but
now.
Here's the problem. I'm saying millions. I'm not saying a few dollars. I'm
Right.
saying millions.
Right.
So when you want to say, well, oh, you know, he needs the money. Okay, next time you go over a pothole, don't say anything. Next time the schools are not well funded, don't say anything. Next time the infrastructure is not done, don't say anything. And when there's a sinkhole, don't say anything, because you, the taxpayer, you, the voter, are allowing this to go on. And this is where we're wrong. And this is where the two parties, look, you cannot tell me, if you are the educated men that you say you are, that you cannot sit at a table and come out with an agreement.
The problem is, they can come out with an agreement,
I believe that.
but they don't want to. They don't want to give credit to the other side for that portion of
Right.
the agreement. If it isn't their idea, they don't want to give credit over here, and that's the bickering that we need to get rid of.
And Democrats and Republicans,
Exactly.
you know, it's not one side over the other, and the other side isn't the enemy. And these people like Rush Limbaugh and some of the ones that are on, you know, what they do is they just stir the pot.
Oh yeah.
But I'm telling you, if we keep going in this method of they're the enemy, we are going to implode.
We're working that direction right now.
The difference with Trump that really antagonized me. Now, I had my differences with Bush, and let me go down a few presidents. Kennedy, I was quite young, although I do remember when he got killed. Johnson did a lot for people, but he was dogged by Vietnam.
Right.
And his ego got in there, and he had a lot of people killed that did not have to be. So he brought that on himself.
Right.
Now, on every president, you have good and you have bad. There's no saint.
Right.
But Nixon got in, and Nixon, you know, I thought, of course, Nixon may have been a failure president, but he actually wasn't. He did a lot of good, but unfortunately, like Johnson, Vietnam and Watergate overshadowed it. Watergate was, he'll best be remembered because that changed politics.
Yes, it did.
Forever. Then you had Jerry Ford. Now, I thought Jerry Ford was good. Quiet, unassuming. He just did the job. He wasn't boisterous. I thought Jerry Ford was a good president. Jimmy Carter, I thought, was, as a president, his heart was in the right place, but he was in the wrong spot, because maybe you live by the golden rule, but you know, you're in a den of thieves.
Right.
Okay. Now, then we go to Ronald Reagan. I liked Ronald Reagan. I thought Ronald Reagan was great. Did I agree with everything on it? No. But he left a good legacy.
Right.
And it antagonizes me to no end when people like Trump and others try to say, well, Ronald Reagan would think this of me. No, I don't think so, because Ronald Reagan probably would spit in your face to see what you're doing.
I don't think Reagan would have agreed with our last three presidents, to tell you the truth.
Now, Bush, I thought, did very well in foreign affairs, and he did quite well, but he lost touch with the people of his own country.
Right.
Had he paid more attention to that, I think he would have won. Of course, Ross Perot had a lot to do with that. That was one election that I really believe that he would have won. Take Perot out of it. Clinton, what he did to himself. He's got no one to blame but himself. Okay. Now
You're talking about the incident in the Oval Office.
Yeah, but as far as what he did for the economy, and that he left it better than he found it.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
He's the only president on record that balanced the budget.
Yeah. Now, it's really funny, because there is where Watergate hurt him, because our presidents previous, a lot of them, not all, had incidents that if they were to happen today, I mean, oh my God, the TV would blow up.
Right.
But there was a respect there and an agreement that we don't do that. But now it's different.
It's a free-for-all now.
Yeah, but see, now Trump has taken it to the next level with the reality show type thing.
Well, let me interject here for a second. There can't be one person. There might be one, but there can't be many people in the United States right now that can actually say that they thought Trump was going to be a normal president. No matter how you look at it, whether you like him or dislike him, I've said it before, he was elected to be an agent of change. Everything about him is completely different, no matter how you look at it. His outlook of the office is completely different. His mannerisms are different. And again, you bring up Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't want anything to be normal, so to speak. He has to do everything in a, as he would say, a big way or a huge way. I don't agree with that, all that. I have to tell you right now, I don't agree with it all. But I don't think, as a person or a voter, I could honestly say that I didn't expect something completely outside the box with him.
Well, I'll tell you how I see Trump, and I will defend him in this. He has been brought up in a certain stage of life. Mm-hmm. His viewpoint of other people is not skewed. That is what he grew up with. Okay? So a lot of yes men, when something went right, he took credit for it. When something went wrong, he blamed someone else. And he got away with that for years. He pushed the boundaries way past and ended up getting sued many, many times. And if you look at his track record, it's not very good. He's lost a lot and ended up settling out. He's done a lot of underhanded things. Right. But he was able to get away with that because he didn't know right from wrong, okay?
I don't think I'd go that far.
I would go that far.
You don't think he knew the difference between right and wrong?
No, I don't. Because some of the things he admits to doing. Now, he will point out other people's picadillos, but he won't, when he does it, well, no, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
So he gets into the presidency, and it's different. You can't do that. It's not everybody will bow down to me. Everyone will say yes to me.
Right.
And I can do what I want to do. You are the president. You are an elected official. See, when you were in charge of Trump Tower, you ran it. You ran it like it was yours, because it was yours. But you have a job to do. You don't own the country. You don't own the position.
Right.
Now, for the voters, he told the voters what they wanted to hear because their own representatives forgot who they were. So
I'll give you that one.
They did not listen.
Back to what I said about.
He told them what they wanted to hear, and they said, "Oh, he gets it. He understands me." The thing was, he didn't. He just told them what he wanted. They wanted to hear, so he could get what he wanted, and he got it. And unfortunately, our time is up.
That was quick.
Yeah, I mean, this was a good show. Again, this is opinions, and we'll bring this up in another show.
Okay.
Like I said, all we want you to do is think. We're not telling you what to think, and a lot of what we say is opinions. We also would like
our opinions.
Yes. We also would like to thank our director, John. John Atwater does a great job. He's put us on now, and Joe Johnson, who helps keep the show going. And we want to thank them, and they deserve all the credit in the world for making us look halfway decent.
At least occasionally.
So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Political Talk.
Views and content expressed in the previous program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the previous program.